Hey folks, today on Marty's Hot Rod Garage, we've got this 81 Kenworth. Well, not really. It's an 81 Kenworth cab sitting on a 76 Chevy half-ton chassis. It's like one of those little mini trucks. But pretty neat little truck. It's making a noise when I start it up. I don't know if it's I don't know if the water pump's going out, a loose belt, or alternator, but anyhow, we're going to try to work on that. Hey, and I'm going to try to talk at the end of this. You know, a lot of stuff going on in the country right now that's I'm not real happy about. I don't know about you guys, and all this seems to me like the media is trying to divide us on everything, and I just don't understand the narrative. I mean, I remember back in the day you had guys like Walter Cronkite that simply read the news. They didn't try to put their slant on it, you know, or put their twist, you know, push their narrative or their agenda. They just simply read the news and said, this is what happened on this day. And not really sure what they're trying to do, but one thing is for sure, they're dividing us. I'm Marty Moore, owner and driver of the Hemi Express Wheel Stander. Welcome to my Hot Rod Garage. All right, folks, we got the little Chevy Kenworth in here today that I got a problem when I've been starting this thing up. It's got an awful squeal to it. This thing's a Kenworth cab on a Chevy half-ton pickup frame, and it's got an awful squeal. So yesterday I was convinced that it was a water pump. So I went and got a new water pump and put on it, and guess what? That's not the problem. So what I done was this morning I took all the belts off of it. The power steering, the air conditioning, and the alternator, and I'm going to start it up and see where my noise is coming from. I'm thinking it might be the harmonic balancer, but I don't know, and I'll just start putting belts back on, and hopefully I can find out where it's coming from. Okay, take one. This is no belts. No belts on it at all. No squeal. So I'll put the power steering belt on. See what that does. Okay, this is take two. This is with the power steering belt on. No noise, so probably not the power steering. All right, here we go with the air conditioning belt on. No squeak.
I can come around like that.
All right, take three. Alternator belt on.
button on the belt. Because that would, if it was a bearing, it would not quiet down when you squirt that stuff on it.
It got loud though.
It got loud. That's what I told you when I first started. I thought, oh, bearing locked up somewhere.
Yeah.
All right, guys, you just heard this thing squealing. But before I put another alternator on it, I mean, this thing doesn't appear like it's the alternator. So what I'm going to do, because it's cheaper than an alternator, I'm going to try it with a new belt. I've never heard a belt make a noise like that, but we'll put a new belt on it and see what that does. All right, guys, here we are. We got put the new belts on. We'll start up, see what it does now. Be darned. Well, guys, there you see it. It's hard for me to believe these belts didn't look that bad. I mean, you can see that it's, you know, it's glazed over there, you can see. But I never had one make a noise like that. Sounded metal to me. All right, guys, I showed you what I found out yesterday on the belts. And I come back this morning and started this thing up, and guess what? Are you kidding me right now? So, after I chased everything, guess what I had to go get? That's right, a new alternator. So I'm like a parts guy's dream, you know, one of these mechanics that can't figure out how to fix it and just throw parts at it. So we put a new water pump on it, new belts, now a new alternator, just chasing this. So what's the takeaway from this? When I worked for the gas company, we used to have meetings. Sometimes we'd have meetings to talk about when our next meeting was going to be and what we was going to talk about at the next meeting. So they would always say, the educated guys would say, what's the takeaway from this? What's the takeaway? What can we take away? So I guess the takeaway from this is, even though it had a new alternator, that don't mean it's a good alternator. And especially when you're dealing with this remanufactured stuff. And I'm not going to say anything, I'm not going to get political, but look at that. Remanufactured in where? China? Really? Really? We're going to take our cores in and they're going to send them to China to have them remanufactured? So, anyhow, that's the takeaway on this, that just because you have a new part doesn't mean it's a good part, especially when you're dealing with remanufactured stuff. Another thing, guys, I wanted to tell you was lots of times I like to share with you stuff that works and don't work. You know, I put this budget lift together here because I needed more room. Let me show you what I done the other day. I priced a lean-to for my building here. They wanted $9,000 for a lean-to. So I bought one of these shipping containers. Look at that. I painted that stripe on there. And I told the guy that brought it, I said, I want it. That's where I want it. It took him 3 tries, but he finally got it. And then I measured and I thought, oh boy, I screwed up because these doors are heavy. And I measured it. Look at that. Look at that. I didn't want that to be able to swing around if the wind caught it and hit my... But anyhow, this is a 40-foot high cube. And guys, there's a lot of room in these things. There's a lot of room in here. So, like I say, I priced out a lean-to here beside my building, and they wanted, it was going to be about 9,000 bucks to do that. And I got this shipping container here, this 40-foot high cube, delivered on site for about 2,400 bucks. So for my money, for the storage, I thought that was pretty good. This summer I'll pressure wash this thing and paint it the same color as the barn, and I don't even think it looks that bad. So anyhow, if you're looking for more storage, it might be a good alternative. Alright guys, time for me to vent a little bit here from Marty's blog or whatever. Kind of reluctant about talking about this, but it's been on my heart, so I'm just gonna say it. I'm just gonna put it out there. You know, this country right now, we're in a mess. We are in a big mess, and unless you're living under a rock, you got to be able to see this. A buddy of mine the other day sent me a YouTube link, Outdoors with the Morgans, and he said, please listen to this. And guys, before I started doing this channel, I never watched YouTube. I don't know anything about YouTube, but anyhow, as I went and I watched this, and this guy talked about what I'm talking about, and man, I watched it and he was spot on. He was spot on. I mean, you know, talking about he has a big 4th of July party and he's not going to have it this year because he feels like a hypocrite for celebrating freedom when every day our freedoms are they're just being taken away from us, and we're just sitting back and doing nothing about it. And it's just, and I'm pretty good at seeing the problem, but I'm not real good with finding solutions, and I admit that, so I'm kind of a hypocrite. But you know, every day our freedoms are taken away. In the county I live in here in Ohio, I got a letter the other day. My septic tank, which we all have septic tanks here. We don't have city sewers. We have septic tanks. My septic tank's been installed since 1962. Now they want me to buy a permit, a 3-year permit for $120 to maintain and operate my own septic system. And you get a letter that says, if you don't send it in, we're going to assess it on your taxes. What do you mean? They're just going to put it on my taxes? And people say, well, you voted for it. No, I didn't. These officials, they're not elected, they're appointed. So, like I say, we're watching this, our freedoms being taken away from us every day. And this narrative or agenda, I don't even know what you call it, guys. You can't even watch the news anymore. If you watch the news, it's just, I get all haired up. I can't even watch it. I get my news from other sources other than watching the news, because it's just lies, and you don't know what you can believe. I mean, there's one station out there, I call it the Comical Nonsense Network, and their narrative or their agenda is obvious. It's to cause division. It's to cause division among us, and we have to be able to see that. I mean, you know, they're coming up with new words, you know, critical race theory and systemic racism and that kind of stuff. And I wonder how we got there. Guys, back in the day, back in my day when I was a kid, there was a guy named Walter Cronkite, and he read the news. He said, this is what happened today. And I can remember during the Vietnam War, and he would say, sorry, I'll try and get through this. He would say, so many American soldiers were killed today, 13 American soldiers or 7 American soldiers. He didn't say 7 black soldiers, 4 Asian soldiers, 3 white soldiers. He said American soldiers. That's what they were. And I never will forget, you know how when you're a kid, things will stay with you. He would say that. My dad would get on his knees and pray for the families of those who lost those American soldiers. He didn't care if they were black, white, Asian, Native American. It didn't matter. They were Americans. They were all Americans. So this division that they're trying to I don't know. I don't understand the narrative. I don't understand the agenda. All right, sorry, I had to cut away there for a minute. You know what? I was out at Summit Motorsports Park one time, Norwalk, and Bill Bader, the guy that runs the place, he said, you know, it's so good that we're all in here. You know, we're all car guys. We're, you know, the fact that you guys are watching the channel now, you're a car guy, whether you're a cruiser or a racer or whatever, you know, we have the same interest. And he said, it's so nice to know that we're all in here inside the gates and all the crazy people are out there. And it's like, that's how we used to feel about our country. You know, we had I mean, we are fierce competitors. I'm a Mopar guy. Okay. I'm the first guy that will say, when it comes to race engines, there's only two kinds, Hemis and everything else. And I'll make cracks about, you know, oh, you Chevy guys, you little boys still wear the bow ties. I make cracks like that. And you know what? When we line up, we're fierce competitors. But you know what? When we're alike, we are kindred spirits. You know, that guy, yeah, I'll give that guy driving a Chevy a hard time, or that guy driving a Ford a hard time. But you know what? If he wrecks or if he gets sick, I'll be the first guy there to help him. And he'll be the first guy there to help me. That's because we have each other's backs. I mean, there's a code, and that's how it used to be in this country. That's how it used to be. We were all on the same team, and this division is killing us. It is killing us. And I don't understand the narrative. I don't understand the media for pushing it on us. I just don't get it. But we have to realize what they're trying to do to us and not let it happen. I am proud of my country, but I am ashamed of my government. I'm ashamed of them. I don't know what to do about it. Like I say, I'm real good at seeing the problems, but I'm not good at seeing the solution. The only thing that I can see, I was thinking the other day, it's like if there was just some kind of instruction book or manual or something that we could read, you know, that would get us through this, to tell us what are we supposed to do. And you know what? It's right here. It's right here, guys. All we have to do is turn back to it. That's all we have to do. Anyhow, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. God bless you all.